I think it's strange to me that XRP is in such a unique position, and the market hasn't kind of rewarded that.
I can't stop buying XRP. I'm watching sheep get shaken out as I click buy. Still I try to show the people, but they don't wanna know. Here we go.
This will get picked up because your channel is pretty big. This is my theory on why XRP received the lawsuit from the SEC. I think a lot of the heads of the SEC, prior and current, were seed investors in Ethereum, that they participated in the ICO of Ethereum. Therefore, they have a vested interest in seeing Ethereum succeed as the main blockchain. And the thing that you had seen right now is what is one of the biggest holders of Ethereum across the entire world, a company called Consensus. Consensus owns MetaMask. They're super centralized, and now we're in a scenario where we're no longer proof of work, but we're proof of stake, which means what? Whoever owns the most Ethereum and stakes the most Ethereum owns the most nodes, therefore has the most voting power. And who owns that? Consensus, the guys that created, co-created Ethereum. So it's a very centralized network, and who owns and co-invested in Consensus? JP Morgan or Chase Bank or a bunch of banks, I don't know, HSBC, I don't remember exactly which ones. So you're in a scenario right now where, dude, like, banks are still, they got their hand in the game, they're playing their game. I think it's a dirty play. That's my opinion, but I think XRP wins the lawsuit. The problem is, in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, it just wasn't a good investment. It's not whether they have the potential to do or not do something, but if you had your money on anything else, Dogecoin, you would have made more money, right? So you got to play the game at its current moment. You can't be religious about things. You got to be able to surround where the liquidity is. You got to be able to move where the money is, and just the money wasn't flowing into XRP because it just wasn't a good investment at the time.
I've never heard that stance. I've had the opinion that XRP built like a really disrupting tech, and the powers that be wanted to slow it down. But I'm in litigation and didn't let any of the
Oh no, XRP is completely part of the system, 100%. They're going to be using that with ECB. They're going to be using that, which is the European Central Bank. I think they'll use it with the Bank of International Settlements. I think XRP has great technology. I think it's going to be extremely useful, and they use it a lot already outside of America, right? In Japan and South Korea, they don't care, right? What the SEC says, they'll continue using it. So whether it works or not in America doesn't really matter. It'll work in other places, and it can still be worth $1 trillion without being in America, right? Like many other companies. So they're super in deep with the banks, and I think that they're going to win. But I think it's some sort of rivalry, some sort of competition there, or who's going to be running the network for transactions of payments.
Ripple did not actually issue XRP. Some of the creators of the XRP ledger actually had been early engineers that worked on Bitcoin, and they saw some of the scalability problems that Bitcoin is likely to have, and they wanted to build a better digital asset to solve some of these problems.
Is Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse saying that XRP is better than Bitcoin? According to his own statements, many of the developers of the XRP ledger are former developers of Bitcoin, who saw a lack of scalability in BTC and wanted to create a better coin with XRP.
However, let's say that the SEC official consulted SEC staff and perhaps even ethics directly to assist them in writing speech or giving guidance. Under this scenario, would the written speech still be considered personal views of the individual and not views of the commission?
Respectfully, I can't answer that right now because that hypothetical is a real scenario that's playing out in litigation.
Oh, what litigation would that be?
That would be the Ripple litigation.
Ripple XRP. So is it true that Director Hinman submitted his speech to ethics for approval?
Again, I can't comment on pending.
Maybe these ETFs are going to create that opportunity for more differentiation and like more telling the story, or like, you know, peek behind the curtain of like what is happening in this world of crypto. Like between Ethereum and Bitcoin and XRP Ledger and others, like, you know, what's the differentiation?
And I guess the natural next question is, do you think an XRP ETF will be next?
I do. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, one, in the US, XRP and Bitcoin are the only two crypto assets with any kind of clarity. Through the judge's ruling in our SEC case last year, she said XRP in and of itself is not a security. So it's kind of a special asset in the US market in that way. It's also, I mean, it's been a top 10 by market cap.
We have been leapfrogged by others, by digital currency, by digital Chinese currency. Why? Because frankly, our central bank has been slow, and there's an appointment coming in January of 22. The president's got to decide whether to change over who's leading the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve runs our payment system, and I think we need to move that Federal Reserve into the modern era.
What about in 5 minutes if we hear that the world is trading oil in this digital yuan? What does that do to our economy? I think we really have to ask some of these questions so we don't have to wait 3 or 4 days for you to call a meeting every time something important happens. Thank you.
Here is the way that I'm going to summarize what I will read out to the president. Per the Secretary of State's recommendation, that there will be a POTUS call to President Xi. We're going to talk about new avenues for cooperation. We need a strategy to, one, modernize our SWIFT system. I think the word was harden from cyber attack, from the North Koreans in particular. But we need to develop and present options to the president for a U.S. equivalent of a digital currency, either a private-public partnership, or if the Treasury is able to do it with the Fed, something that would be a public-only option. We need a strategy to resuscitate U.S. financial prowess, I think is the way you put it, Madam Vice President, and examine this idea of secondary sanctions and whether in overuse of them, we've actually undermined our ability to use them down the road.
IMF, World Bank, all other institutions, they make African countries jump through hoops. Loans will never be able to pay. The US, when they borrow money, they're getting it in 1.5, 1.9 interest rate. Africans, when they get the same amount of money, they're paying 9, 10%. The people who don't need a break, they get a break. The ones who need a break, they don't get a break. The sheer survival of the World Bank, IMF, is based on the fact that African countries and many other developing countries do not succeed. Their success is based on our failure. That has to change. And guess who can make that change? We, the children of Africa, we, the Africans, are the ones who have to say, we know your game now. Enough is
amazing ecosystem worldwide, and it takes it very seriously that Dubai is actually now at the center of everything that Ripple is doing as well, whether it is locally, regionally, or even internationally. And Ripple Swell being in the UAE is a great testament to
Remember me showing you XRP and showing you the 100 banks that was using XRP technology? Remember, Ripple is the company and Ripple owns XRP. XRP is a technology. I showed people that 2 years ago. Now you got Russian banks letting you know, yeah, we're definitely, you know what I'm saying, using XRP's technology. It's like, yeah, I told y'all that 2 years ago.
XRP is going to be the #1 coin in this bull run. Every person who comes to me in real life and says, what should I buy in crypto? XRP. Point blank, period.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of
Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team, Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website, Ripple.
This 1996 book describes XRP and Ripple almost 30 years ago. The idea of a single global currency makes sense when paired with the global information infrastructure that can move digital money around easily. Naturally, all of this will take a while to sort out. Have we been living through the implementation of a global digital money system for decades while politicians like Elizabeth Warren, news anchors like Joe Kernan, and bankers like Jamie Dimon have meticulously distracted us from understanding this plan? Why would they do this?
And we end up in a world where the monetary monopoly is basically replaced by a monetary ecosystem. And we end up in a world where we start honoring the complexity and the uncertainty we are facing in the age of the Anthropocene. This makes the entire system more stable, more predictable. And we start really financing our future by introducing a new currency system. In a dual currency system, we would start creating multiple second round effects. Each time you use this green dollar, each time we use this green currency, we would basically create one step closer to a common green future. So what's required is so-called semi-permissive, fully regulated, distributive ledger technology-based digital currencies issued by an authority like the central bank with a smart contract. So what you're introducing with this blockchain technology, you condition the consumption, you condition the investment into our common future we agreed on already in 2015 to begin with. You know, in 2015 we agreed that we want the SDGs as our common roadmap.
Because we have a political consensus on these goals, almost 100% on the globe.
And what's missing is the right financial incentives to make that happen. And by introducing this blockchain associated conditioned smart contract incentive, each time you touch that green dollar and each time you use that green dollar, you create multiple green so-called second round effects. This green currency system, it suddenly becomes an incentive to swap your traditional ancient fossil projects into green projects.
I think it's strange to me that XRP is in such a unique position and that the market hasn't kind of rewarded that. XRP in the US is one of the few things we can say definitively is not a security. With ETH, I don't know how that's going to play out.
U.S. banks are getting ready to use XRP. That was the headline that was ran by CNBC yesterday after they got an interview with Stuart Alvarado, Chief General Counsel of Ripple. Now just think, folks, lawyers don't come out and just throw things out there, right? If a lawyer's going to come out and he's going to put someone on the stand and ask them a question, he already knows the answer. Now for Stuart Alvarado to come out yesterday and say that banks are going to return back to using ODL XRP here in the United States, that is a big statement. And you got to remember, right, they lost partnerships like MoneyGram and so many others who, dropped XRP, dropped ODL because of the lawsuit. Now you're about to see all of these banks and institutions reconsider coming back to XRP, and then all of these new deals that are going to get signed as well. We know that they had 1,700 pre-allocations, options, different forms of contracts with market makers that got revealed from the SEC lawsuit. And just think of how many more contracts and deals Ripple's going to be able to get signed now that we have clarity for XRP. I just dropped a full update on my YouTube. Make sure you guys go check it out. God bless.
Folks, Ripple just flipped a switch, and not even this SEC lawsuit is slowing them down in the slightest. Nothing can stop what is coming for Ripple XRP. Check this out. So they just announced this deal here today. Ripple teams up with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. Now, if you recall, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and Brad Garlinghouse have been in the same room for a while. This goes back years. But in this same room, you have the Director of Monetary Markets at the IMF, the Chairman of the Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, the Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Swiss National Bank also in the room, along with right there Christine Lagarde, listening in closely on our good friend Brad Garlinghouse. So this deal, these partnerships, being in the same room, shaking hands and getting it done with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority goes back years for Ripple. So this most recent partnership is working on the EHKD, which is the digital currency created by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and they're working on tokenizing real estate with Ripple. Now, why this is interesting is because just yesterday, we covered how Ripple acquired a company out of Switzerland called Medico, which is a custody-based solution that is also going to be helping them tokenize the whole Internet of Value. So one day later, we get this announcement that they're working with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority to tokenize real estate using their native CBDC, utilizing the private CBDC ledger that Ripple created. So nothing is slowing down Ripple. We see that they spent $200 million battling the SEC. They just spent $250 million yesterday acquiring this Swiss company that does custody and also is going to be helping them tokenize the Internet of Value. But I want to remind everybody that they also invested $250 million in an NFT creator fund for the XRP ledger. So while the haters and naysayers still say that XRP is just getting dumped on us by Ripple, we actually are seeing the complete opposite. They're investing hundreds of millions of dollars, and Brad confirmed that they are still sitting on over $1 billion cash to invest in growth. So nothing is stopping and definitely not even slowing down Ripple's progress, and many people are going to get left behind. We're seeing that we're coming, all of this news is coming on the brink of a summary judgment ruling in the case. We're about to break through, and you guys know what comes next. Don't get left behind. God bless you all.
Considering everything we know about Ripple, their purpose, what's at stake, who's involved, and what they're trying to accomplish, and considering the world's a stage where social media creates the ability to socially engineer people with artificial narratives, could certain narratives we perceive as naturally occurring actually be part of an overall strategy? Could this idea be applied to the timely FUD that surrounds Ripple and XRP? There's just so many partners outside of Ripple that have interest in this company: the United Nations, WEF, and IMF, the parents of the SDGs, to name a few. It would actually make sense that a nuanced PR plan would include an evolving strategy for keeping sentiment balanced around this future tech. They would at least try. And since I've been seeing a ton of FUD narratives surrounding XRP lately, I thought this would be a good time to explain why the FUD, which stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt, doesn't get to me anymore, and why to me, many of it feels artificial or designed to discourage retail investors, which is us, from buying this chosen token at low price levels in the short term by introducing ideas engineered to cause uncertainty. Remember, you can't believe the world's a stage and then excuse a future powerhouse of global digital payments connected to the playwriters themselves from participating in staged narratives. That wouldn't make any sense, right?